Hi guys, so I'm coming on to share with you a flip through of this altered book. Those eagle-eyed amongst you will recognize it as the book that I have been working on in the first 3 episodes of my Finish It Up Friday series. We worked for 2 episodes, we worked on some pages within the book, and then the final episode we worked on the cover, and I wanted to come on and share with you how it now looks. So this is how it's now looking. I wasn't sure if I was going to fill it with ephemera or decorate it or do whatever, but I actually have. So just in case you don't know, if you didn't follow that series, this is a vintage book that I have altered. I've been working on it for years. I sort of started it 3 and a bit years ago. I put it to one side, kind of got caught up with other things and decided I really wanted to finish it. So this is the cover. It's a grungy fae themed. In the final episode where I worked on the cover, I've actually added this off camera, lost and found, because I kind of thought it went with the theme, and I've added this button. I also made sure I painted all around the edges, because although we've painted the cover, I didn't do the inside edges. You will see that. And I also, even though I grunged up the spine, the corrugated card, I still wasn't quite happy, so I grunged it up a bit more with some walnut stain, sprayed it, dabbed it, did the technique, and it's got this lovely kind of greyish colour. And I also added some crackle stamping to the back and a little bit on the front and the gilding. Yeah, so as you can see, I've also added fabric and charms. So let's get inside. I'm absolutely in love with this, guys. I'm so glad I'm keeping it for myself. So both on the front page and the back page, I've added some marble paper. This paper was actually made by my daughter when she was about 6 or about 5, 6, maybe 7 at primary school. She's in her late 20s now. So this is, I suppose, classed as vintage marble paper. And I really wanted to use it in here because it's a memory of her, something she's made. Yeah, and it had torn edges, and I loved that because I kept this plain. So when I first started this altered book about 3 and a bit years ago, I was actually trying to use up some pretty pictures from magazines that I had, especially things like the Breathe magazine and the Daphne's Diaries. And very quickly, a few pages in, I started changing and working more with digitals that I loved. So I've had to go back to the first few pages and kind of cover up the original paper bits that I'd used because they weren't in theme. They were yellows and pinks and just random things from magazines. So I've gone back and I've covered over this page with this beautiful owl, added a lot of stamps and leaves. I used some washi tape here to really strengthen this bit. Love the fact it's got this because that means something to me. So yeah, this is from 1954. It says there. And it was an English correspondence book. Added a bit more washi and Tim Holt's number up there because this was really pinky purple and I couldn't get it off without tearing the page. So this is the first page. Yeah, really love it. Really went for that grungy fairy. I'm not going to be able to tell you what all the digitals are from, guys, because I started this years ago and a lot of the digitals are scrap digitals that I'd used for other projects and had left and wanted to use them in here. Nothing was printed out specifically for this book. I do know this is a Release the Crafting one because I made this journaling card last week just to go in here. It's on one of my tea-stained large index cards. I made some little fabric snippets, and that just pops in there. I didn't want anything two-dimensional, too sturdy, because the book, as you can already see, is chunky, alligator-mouthed, and because it's a vintage book, I didn't want to put any more pressure on the spine than there already is. So there's nothing too chunky. It's just some more digitals. I think this is another Release the Crafting one. I must have been working with hers and then had lots left because obviously I'm part of her design team. Just added some leaves of some vellum stickers. This is vintage music paper. In here are 2 small tags that I had in my stash that are actually from a collage masterboard that I did with lots of scrap pieces. They were in my stash. I've just added some bits on the top and some corrugated card to pick up the corrugated card I've used on the spine and in other places. Lots of writing space in this journal, which I probably will keep it to write in. This was a card, again, I made this probably about 3 years ago. I think it was a tutorial by Dolly from Gypsy Rose Papery, although she might have changed her name slightly recently. This is the last one I had left, so I put it in there. And then you can see there was some blues had been used at the beginning, so I've added some walnut stain over the top. In here, I just added some eco-dyed paper along with just some tea-stained paper. So lots of writing space, and I just really like how that kind of looks there. So it adds something without adding bulk. See, there's blue here, but I didn't know really what to do with that except try and mute it with some walnut stain. So this is a double pocket, again some vintage music paper. In the front we have this, which is a little Stamperia tag that I had, and I added a bit of fabric up there. And in the back I just added a large tag made out of scrapbook paper, vintage dictionary, vintage music, some of the digitals I've been using. I'm pretty sure this is a Tracy Fox, and these were digitals. If you can see, I hope you can see that there's some lines. So a lot of the digitals I used in here were ones that had come out of my printer, and I'd realized their heads needed cleaning, so you know they had these lines. I would never put them in a journal that I'm going to sell, because you know they're not correctly printed, but I can use them in my own journal, and I kind of like the texture it gives. Another little fabric snippet tab up the top and plain on back, just so I can write on it or add a photo. Some more bits and pieces, bit of corrugated, some leaves, lots and lots and lots. This might be Tracy Fox as well, but I'm not sure. And this might be the Mrs. Coggs or Artie Mays. Yeah, lots of writing space, mushrooms, some more Tim Holtz bits down there, trim. This is a large pocket with again some vintage music paper and a label and some washi. This was a great way to use up scraps, guys. And again, I used another scrapbook paper that I really love. It's like a shimmery metallic. I often use it in other journals, but I haven't actually used it in anything for me before, so I wanted to use it in here and just used a butterfly on top and some more fabric trim. And again, large tag, very simple decoration, but you know, pocket here, vintage music, another label. I love this image. It's a variation of the one I've used on the front. This is one of my own photos. So this was my, I believe they're my lupins when they were seeding. I wanted to add some of my own nature photos in here. Again, some corrugated. And this was just a tag I had in my stash that I've just stamped a butterfly on and added some sari silk. Sorry if you can hear that large alarm. It goes off regularly for things, but you can never tell when it's going to go off. So large pocket here, ledger paper, you know, vintage music, again, some washi I was using up. And then I've got this large tea-stained index card that I've just collaged on. This is definitely Release the Craft in here. Again, I know these ones a bit better because I've literally just recently done them. Vintage music paper, some of the Tim Holtz fabric trim, fabric washi, a tab, and then I added this on here, which is a leaf in bronze, something from an old necklace, and a metal cog. It just really went with the theme of Lost and Found and Fae. Lots of writing space, lots of tea dyeing, some Edith Holden, lots of words throughout here. I've had to cover this up because there's a teeny bit of, I suppose, what can be seen as nudity, and I didn't want to offend anyone or have YouTube then complain to me. I hope I caught all the bits that I think are a little bit nude. It's a gorgeous image, but you know, didn't want to risk it. Side pocket, and again a large journaling card in here, vintage music. Again, I think this released crafting, and I'm trying to remember, this might be Elsie Bell's bookshelf on Etsy, one of her digitals. A little charm on there, beautiful sort of mottled glass brown, and again one of my large tea stained on here. So that's going in there. Lots of writing space, as I said. Here there's a little pocket up here. This is one of the Tim Holtz dies, pocket dies. We've got a ticket in here that's from handmade paper. You can see all the bits in there. And then 2 smaller tags that I had in my stash that I just thought would work well in here. I may keep them, I may not. I might swap them out for something else, but that's what's in here right now. This was a journaling card I had in my stash, and I've just added the B to it, and well, it's a printable, it's a digital journaling card, and the number, and again, lots of fabric, lots of writing space. Had to add the fabric, guys. It's me. Had to add some fabric. Also, I like the idea of the fae, like finding bits of fabric in the woods and stuff. Some more coffee dyed and vintage music paper that's just in there for me to be able to grab and write on. You've probably seen these in the haul that I recently shared. If not, I'll leave that down below. More stamps, mushrooms, words, vintage music. Another pocket here, and you can write here as well. It's just lots of interesting words. Some are Tim Holtz, some aren't. This is a tag from Kim at Serene Bookworks that I received from her a couple of years ago. It was all embossed. It had this paper in the background she'd embossed over, but that was it. And I wanted to put one in here because I think I've only got one more left. And the blue of this flower kind of picks up the blue here. And so I just added the leaf, vintage music, and a label. And again, I can write on the back. I really love that. Let's turn over. It's a double pocket here. So you've got 2 pockets. Little tag in here. Again, just added a label. And this is the strip from the edge of some fabric I had. So it's got these cute, try and bring that up, leaves. And then this word, I just thought it went. And this is one of my stamp booklets that I made in my first episode of my Inspired By series. So if you haven't seen that, I will leave the link to the video down below in the description box if you're interested to check that out. Again, lots of writing space, lots of mushrooms, leaves, greeneries, browns, vintage music, all that kind of good grungy fairy stuff. Again, it shows you another printable that printed out dodgily due to the heads needed cleaning, but I've used it in here and I think it adds a little something. So this is a double pocket vintage music paper, another one of my own photos. This is my elderberries from my elder tree. And this was just a card I had in my stash, another digital, some more corrugated. So that ties all that in. And then this was meant to be a digital page from a journal kit, the one that these fae are all from. And I shrunk it down a little bit, ripped it and used it just as, again, a journaling card. Some beautiful fabric on the edge. I've hand dyed all this lace bit there. So that just pops in there. And then... have I missed one? I think it went too far back. There we go. Again, lots of writing space. Love this guy. Absolutely love him. I might add a label down here, but there's a label there and I feel like that's too close to many labels. A piece of Tim Holtz scrapbook card that I've turned into a large journaling card. I might put some tea stain paper on the back, but again, I don't know what I'm going to use it for. And personally, in my personal journals, I like there to be space for me to decorate as I'm journaling. So if I want to write about something or do something, I might make a journaling card just for that pocket. It's something I like to do. It's a bit of crafting, a bit of writing, a bit of memory keeping all at once. So, and I love this scrapbook paper, so I didn't really want to add anything to it except the fabric tab because I don't know what I'm going to use it for. I might use this as a garden journal. Not to plan my garden, but just like sort of take note of what's happening in my garden, because I like to do that throughout the year anyway. But I normally do it in a bullet journal, but it might be nice done in here. Some more writing space, pocket here. And then this is one of my scrappy paper pads with lots of digitals. This is some beautiful textured wallpaper. And that's great because I can use that throughout the journal, just like I can the stamp pad when I want to do some journaling and a bit of decoration on things. Get in there. Yeah. Another double pocket here, so I'll take that out so you can see. Label up there, double pocket, vintage music. Again, that's some digital that didn't print out very well. Another one of my scrappy paper pads, one of the small ones. This has got like vintage book page, vintage map on there, Edith Holden, some French book page and pieces, and also some of this beautiful vellum. And again, I can use this. And this is on beautiful. When I was clearing out some of my papers, I came across these strips of flocked card in different colours. And so I've added that in there because I can rip that up and use that too. And then there's another one of those digital printable journaling cards that I had in my stash. So I thought I'd use it. It's got a few labels that I've added and this beautiful trim up here with this little bit of gold that just sparkles, you know, because the Fae like a few sparkly things too. Some more, I've just added some leaves and things. All these digitals have printed out with the lines through, so they were great to use in here. Love this image. Love, 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 love this image. Yeah, so some of the pages are just purely decorative. This is a pocket. You can write here. I could add something here if I wanted. This is from a vintage book haul that I filmed, so it should be coming up. It might even be coming up a couple of days after I put this up. And this was a ladybird book, I think from the 60s, and it's all about birds. And I really wanted to keep one of the images for myself. So this one worked best with the rest of the book. There's a little Tim Holtz metal embellishment. It's all tea stained on the back so you can write, and I just like the way that like the birds are poking out and the flowers kind of matched and the colours, and these leaves pick up the green leaves here. So I love all that. Some more writing space, some more writing space. This really is a writing journal. And again, you can really see how this didn't print out well. It's got the lines through it, but I don't mind. It's my journal for me, and I think it kind of adds to this. So we've got a little pocket here, some writing space, and this is a leaf that I collected last autumn and dried, and I just love it. I love the colour of it. You can really see the thorns. I'm going to get that right up. You can see the little delicate thorns on there, so I've got to be careful. But the reason I haven't put this in acetate or laminated it is because the back, I don't know if you can hear that, actually feels like fur. It feels almost like velvet, and I just love it. It's really textured and gives me yummy like feels. So I wanted to leave that like that. Okay, so another journaling card in here. This one's just a leaf, some vintage music. This is Release the Crafting. I think this might be Elsie Bell again. Some more Tim Holtz fabric tape. And there's some leaves and a little wooden ball on there. So I like that. There's a brown and green leaf. And this is the problem with vintage book pages. I know a lot of people like to do altered books with modern books, and I can understand why, and you know, I'm probably going to have a go at that myself. I like the vintage books because I like reusing them, and I like the fact that they're vintage, but the pages are often very, very delicate, so they rip really easily. So just be aware of that if you're going to use vintage books pages. There's ways around that. You can strengthen it, but when I started this like 3 years ago, I didn't know that, and most of these pockets were already done. So, you know, more writing space. This is from a friend of mine that she sent me in some Happy Mail. This is definitely Release the Crafting. Not sure where this is from. Again, some leaves. And in here is just an Edith Holden page that I thought went with the colours. And I can write on here, or I can use it in the journal. And then I've used one of the Tim Holtz large words, Create. Because funnily enough, in my pack of these, I actually got 2 of these. So I think I'm missing one of them, but they gave me double of another one. And it happened to be the Create card they gave me double of. So I don't mind using it in here, and I've put packing paper on the back and another little Tim Holtz metal embellishment. That just goes in there and pops out. Really like the way that looks. More writing space, more writing. Well, not writing, image, but you can write on the labels. Another large journaling card. Vintage music. This definitely Release the Crafting. This might be a Tracy Fox label. Again, I'm not sure. It was already printed out in my stash. This again is one of my large tea-stained index cards. They worked perfectly for here. And a little Tim Holtz charm that says seen and noted, because it fitted with the theme. And if this does become a gardening or nature journal, it will fit with that too. Lots of writing space here. Again, there's that image that may have nudity. I don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk anyone complaining or YouTube like saying something. So I've covered it up just in case. This again is a double pocket. It's one of my collaged glue book page journaling cards that I make quite regularly. This is some vintage book page that I've put inks on. This is definitely Release the Crafting. This is vintage music paper, and obviously one of my fabric tabs, and that pops in there. And then again, got this beautiful bit that's Release the Crafting. And again, just some coffee dyed paper that I thought, okay, that'll work in there. And it just goes in. It might need trimming a little bit because it seems to struggle getting in. But it's just there, and I really like the way that looks. And it picks up kind of the browns over here. So that's good. Lovely. This might be the first page. Might have been this one. Might have been this one. But this was definitely done on camera on episode 1 of the Finish Up Fridays, this one. So I remember doing that. Then this is a double page. Not a double page, what am I talking about? This is a large pocket, and in there is another one of my glue book collaged vintage book page journaling cards. Oh, that's a lot to say. Some more Tim Holtz fabric tape there. That's a Tim Holtz word. Some vintage tickets down there. Again, one of my fabric snippety bits. This is really this is a great way to use up as well, especially in your own journals. So something I'd brought off Etsy ages ago. The seller had very kindly sent me a little note on some tea stain paper, and you can sort of see the writing. Can't make out really what it says, but you can sort of see the writing. And I thought, well, I can't really use that in anything, but I also don't want to throw it away because it's tea stain paper. And I ended up using it in this journal, and I love the black because it kind of picks up the black in the music paper, and it picks up the black over here. And you can't really see it says words, but I know what it is. So I like that. Again, we did these pockets in the Finish Up Friday episodes. It might have been episode 2 or 3. 2. So a large pocket here. Again, another one of my photos. Again, I think that's my lupin when it's actually in bloom, not when it's just the seeds. And some burlap there on top. And then this was a tag I had in my stash. It was just plain brown, but I love the brown in it and how it works with the journal. So I just added a die cut and then some of this gorgeous mottled green and brown sari silk. So that works so well. This is a double pocket, so you've got a pocket up here. And I just put a tag in here. Again, this was a plain tag I had in my stash, so I've just collaged with bits that I had and added some corrugated. And again, you've got a piece here which I know is Release the Crafting as well. I think that's from her Winter Woods kit. And again, some of this coffee dyed paper. I just really love how that looks, and it adds an element of decoration without, like I said, adding any bulk, but it also gives me extra room to write. This journal is not lacking for writing space. So we did this on camera. This is the final page in the book. This is a ticket that I made from handmade paper, similar to the one that's earlier in the book, but this is real dried leaf on there. And in here is this, again, just a journal, a large tag made out of some scrapbook paper I love, because this is actually textured. I just love that. And again, it's all blank on the back, fabric tab and trim. I have to turn it this way to close, to put it back in. But again, left it blank so that I can do something with it should I wish to. And then there's the back of the journal. I have to say, I am absolutely in love with this journal. Oh, I forgot to say. How could I forget? So yes, she has a name, just like all my other journals do, because journals are creations and therefore should be named. Well, for me, I like to name them. Anyway, this is Mairead. I had to obviously give her an Irish Celtic name because it's a Fae journal and, you know, I'm Irish. So this is Mairead. And I am actually in love with her. I loved how she's turned out. And also, I'm just super happy that one of the projects that's been hanging around my craft room for about 3 years is now complete. Yay me. I hate unfinished projects. And not only is she complete, but I think she's one of my favourite things I have made in an absolutely long time. I just love her. She's beautiful. And yeah, I will be using her. I just don't know how yet. So thank you so much. If you've been following along with my Finish Up Fridays, you get to see the completely finished journal now. And it's really inspired me to have a go at making another altered book. Yes, this took me about 3 years to do, but I was learning lots of journal techniques, so I was going from one thing to another back then. But I really do want to make another altered book, and I do have some vintage books that I could realistically use, although I would like to try it with a modern book just to see the difference. I just don't feel like a modern book would have the same feel for me. Like, I love the fact that this is vintage. I love the fact that this has been repurposed, that the pages are so patinaed themselves, but obviously it has to be the right vintage book because you have to be careful of the pages and spines. Anyway, let me know what you think down below. Check out my Finishing Up Friday if you haven't already. And yeah, let me know what you think, guys. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope wherever you are in the world, you are safe. And I hope you're able to have some crafty fun. Until next time, guys, bye for now.